Hi there, welcome to Pitchside. Thank you so much for definitely, the support that you share with us. Thank you for sharing the content. Thank you for the feedback. I want to take this opportunity to request people out there that are, joining us on Pitchside for the first time. First of all, welcome. But most importantly, hit the subscription button. Pitchside with Tabu Peter is the name of the channel. Otherwise, welcome aboard. It's yet again another edition, and this time around, I'm joined by my very land colleague Ismael Kiyonga, who is no visitor now on the sports podcasts that you see out there on YouTube. Why? Because yes, once in a while he comes through on Pitchside, but he also has his own channel. Where, of course, he gives us the big headlines in the world of Ugandan football. Ishmael, welcome to Pitchside, sir, once again.
Thank you, Mr. Tabo Peter.
As you all know, the CAF interclub competitions are about to kick off, the group stages. The CAF Champions League and the CAF Confederation Cup. Unfortunately for Uganda, we do not have any representative there, but East Africa is well represented. Today on Pitchside, we're going to, slightly talk about the clubs that made it to the group stages of the CAF Champions League and the CAF Confederation Cup in line with Ugandan football. We're also definitely going to take a look or break down what has to do with the new league format and the old league format. We are now back to the old league format, but there are a couple of questions here and there that people are wondering with what's going on. But also, guys, Viper Sports Club, they didn't manage to make it to the group stages of the CAF Champions League. But we're going to look into that situation, what transpired. And also, this is a special edition because we're looking at the Vipers' transfer policy over at least the last 4 seasons. They've, you'd say, signed a combined total of about 20, 30 players. Okay, about 15, 20 foreign-based players in those 3 seasons or 4. But they have not delivered. So we'll be looking into that. And Ismael Kiyonga here, a very, very experienced sports journalist on the African continent, joins me today, and that's why he's on set for this discussion. Ishmael, we are not too far away from having the group stages of the Total Energies CAF Champions League and CAF Confederations Cup kicking off. For the people who are watching us out there, maybe just to remind them, is that I think for the Champions League there are about 2 teams left to qualify for the group stages. The rest have already done so. The Confederation Cup as well, I think all of them are done and dusted. But there are a couple of talking points that I felt we should, discuss before we delve into Viper Sports Club. And those talking points begin with, South Africa, because we know what transpired. Kaizer Chiefs and Stellenbosch are going to represent South Africa in the Confederation Cup, while in the CAF Champions League, only Mamelodi Sundowns are going to represent South Africa. It's their 11th consecutive appearance. The story, though, is for Orlando Pirates, who, of course, were eliminated by St. Eloi Lupopo on post-match penalties. 5-4 is how that one ended. After Pirates actually forced the game into penalties, they came from 3 goals down to draw 3-3 on aggregate and went into penalties. Kiyonga, last season, Orlando Pirates reached the semi-finals of the CAF Champions League. They are now out. It's only Sundowns in there. What's your assessment of the South African clubs on the continent?
Yeah, since Mamelodi Sundowns became lecturers at these interclub competitions, especially the CAF Champions League, which they won in 2016, South African clubs woke up because previously Orlando Pirates and Kaizer would be in the competitions, but then they did not give them a lot of attention. And one of the reasons was the CAF Champions League and the CAF Confederation Cup were not as enticing as the PSL in terms of payment. So since the money increased within these interclub competitions, and of course being pushed by Mamelodi Sundowns, a club that is newer in comparison to both Kaizer Chiefs and Orlando Pirates, and of course the historic Pete Somos money, challenging these clubs to always be at the continent. So they had made it a norm in recent years to have their big boys on the continent. Unfortunately, it's not going to be the same for Orlando Pirates this season. Orlando Pirates is mainly known in Uganda for what they did in 1995 when they eliminated Express FC at the semi-final stage and went on to win the Champions League.
Their only Thai Champions League
Yeah,
title.
yeah. I remember the game on Nachivubo 1995. Abu Chigenyi. Every time I meet him, I just remember that moment. Of course, I wasn't in the stadium, but by that time, you could be following Ugandan football on radio as if you were on the pitch. So I remember Gavin Lane, McFish, doing the injustice to the Ugandan side that had Philip Obwinyi, Fred Tamale, George Semogerere, Abu Chigenyi, Richard Chirumira, Robert Ojok, etc. So in the first leg, I remember we discussed this while at Chitende in the aftermath of Vipers losing to Power Dynamos 2-1 in the first leg. It was unfortunate. I didn't watch the game away in DRC, but losing 3-0 was always going to be a very tough mountain to climb and overturn that. So, unfortunately, they did do that. They had a very, very good game in South Africa. Forced a lot of saves from the Saint Lupoi goalkeeper. But in the end, when it came to the penalty shootouts, unfortunately, one of their best in terms of taking those kicks, Dion Hoto, misses the first one. So when your best misses, then it becomes tough. In the end, they are out, but unlike Uganda, which will have none a representative on any either of the competitions. Of course, South Africa has Sundowns. Now they are perennial. Stellenbosch, and of course the Kaizer Chiefs, who are in the Confederation Cup. But sad for Pilots. I felt sad, especially given the way they came back from 3-0 down. Because not every club can tie that. They did that with nearly the last kick of the game. The excitement was there. I could see they felt like maybe even if you go to penalties, we are the favorites. Didn't happen. I'll miss some big guys in the team. Also in Apolis, who scored that
Third goal.
And of course, I like their goalkeeper,
Sipo Chaine.
Simple Chain. Oh, and I like Williams so much, but I feel like
Sipo is also doing a good job.
Very, very good job. So two good South African goalkeepers. One will be out of the continent. Another will be in the CAF Champions League. So on a sad note, I'll miss Orlando Pirates. But remember, DR Congo do not have TP Mazembe in there.
Yeah.
So it means that they are two clubs, the strongest in the past years. That just proves maybe it's not a fluke that they are the ones representing DRC. But in the end, congratulations to the Congolese. It's sad for South Africa, but of course they are lucky. They have 3 other representatives.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to mention players like Tito Masangwani, Mbokazi.
Yeah. You know the South Africans more than I do.
King.
Sometimes I know them, but even pronouncing their names
It's a bit hard.
I remember the Kaizer Chiefs guy, the dreadlocked guy. I cannot mention that, but I like Maswanganyi Patrick. I like Mofokeng. The short one left.
Yeah, the short one went to Saudi Arabia.
The one that
Mohau Nkota.
Nkota, top baller. So they have some very good guys. The centre back, that's Mbokazi, the one who plays even on the national team. So they'll be missed because without playing on the continent, then it also weakens the national team. But of course, they have a lot of players from Mamelodi Sundowns that will probably do the job and fill in. So sad for South Africa, sad for some players.
Yeah, who are exciting last season. Watch out for Stellenbosch because they reached the semi-finals of the Confederation Cup last season and were eliminated by Simba Sports Club, who reached the final and lost to RS Bakane in Zanzibar. Now, from Southern Africa to East Africa, Tanzanian football has been celebrated at least in the last 48 hours because of what is going on down there. They have 4 clubs in the CAF interclub competitions. First of all, in the CAF Confederation Cup, Azam Football Club for the first time made it to the group stages, while of course the other team is Singida Football Club, where Uganda Cranes captain Khalid Aucho plays. alongside experienced Zambian midfielder Clotos Chota Chama. Elvis Rupia, if you like, from Kenya as well, is in there. Then, of course, in the CAF Champions League, Simba Yanga are in there. Yanga had to dig deep. They lost to Silver Strikers in Malawi, but came to Dar es Salaam and won by 2-0 to reach the group stages. Tanzanian football, again, Ismael Kiyonga. They seem to set the pace now in our region as regards to club football.
Yeah, when it comes to club football, they are now ranked ahead of everyone in East Africa. I think their league is in the top 12, where you have 4 representatives, 2 in the Confederation, 2 in the Champions League. So this is the first time that all their 4 teams will be in the group stages of the competition. So kudos to them, but that's years of investment, years of good administration, years of a very, very exciting league. Remember, there was a time when Tanzanians could come here to play as professionals. But currently, it's tough for even a Ugandan player to come from the Uganda Premier League and play in one of those top teams in Tanzania. That just shows you the level these teams have reached. I've always given an example. When you look at the Young Africans team, their goalkeeper is the first choice goalkeeper for Mali. Then the centre backs are the first choice for Taifa Stars. The left back now, Muhammad Hussein from who they signed from Simba, is the first choice left back on the national team. Previously, they had the Uganda Cranes captain, Aucho Khalid in the middle, Clotas Chama. Then they have Pakome Zoazo,
Yeah.
a guy that is summoned alongside the likes of Ahmad Diallo, Frank Kessie, Simon Adingra on the Ivory Coast national team. So that just shows you how far the Tanzanian Premier League has gone away from all the competitors around East Africa. At Simba and Young, it's not news. They've always made it. They went as far as the semi-final, the final, like you said, last season, playing in the CAF Confederation Cup. But just imagine Singida. Singida, I would say, in terms of comparison, Singida is the neck of Uganda. Why? They sign these experienced players. The players that are deemed surplus to requirements at Simba and Yanga, these guys have already joined Singida. They've invested a lot. They have a national team captain of Uganda. They have an international player for Zambia. They have a lot of good players. So their investment also showed. But of course, the draw, I think, was also kind to these Tanzanian sides.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it was because of the rankings, because that also matters.
It has to be. It has to do.
Yeah,
it has to be the rankings.
The rankings, yes, but of course also the fact that of recent, CAF did make some amendments into how the draws are made at the preliminary round level, whereby they go regional because they don't want teams to spend a lot of money in travels. So they always go regional and ensure that teams around the region face each other. Now just imagine Singida faced a team from the center from Burundi.
But before that, they eliminated Rayon Sport.
Rayon Sport, because that just shows you it's all around Sekafa. Let's go to Azam. Azam eliminated KMKM.
Yes.
And the first game, did they eliminate a South Sudan side?
Yes, they did.
The draws were also kind to them. But then, you cannot take away credit from them. Let's talk Azam. Azam previously, was a team that tried to shake the big table that has Simba and Young Africans. But then somehow, the Backlesa family looked like they gave up on the ambitions they had. I remember a team they had built from scratch when they had the young Shomali Kapombe, when they had
Sure Boy,
is it Abubek or something? Then
John
Rafael Boko. They had Erasto Nyoni. They had Himidi Mao. I was shocked he's back. Himidi Mao is played in Egypt for long. He's now back. So they always had a team built from their academy. But at the time you thought they are going to be reaping the success of these boys, it's when they let them go to Simba, Young, and the other teams. The likes of Yahya Mdathiru, one of the best midfielders that I enjoyed watching in the 2015 Kagame Cup when we were in Dar es Salaam. So it looks like the Baklesa family is now back to where they wanted this team to be. How? By signing Florent Ibenge
As a head coach.
as a head coach. Florent is one of the most traveled coaches, most experienced, and one that is a winner. Remember, he won the Chan with DR Congo.
Yeah.
He's always taken Vita to the first stages of the interclub competitions. In Sudan, he has done wonders with the Al Hilal. By signing him, that was just a statement that we want to be where we thought we would be. Then the signings in terms of players as well. Jafet Tambala. I don't know whether people remember the big Congolese striker in Chan that used to don number 9. He was one of the reasons they are into
The
this
group
stage.
stage.
So kudos to the Tanzania Premier League. Years of investment ripping off.
All right, thank you very much, Ismael Kiyonga, on that insight of the East African representation in the CAF interclub competitions. Tanzania, we've talked about that, as well as South Africa. But let's move to our very own Viper Sports Club, who of course fell short in their pursuit of reaching the group stages of the CAF Champions League for a second time in the club's history. They traveled to Zambia, took on Power Dynamos, and they were unable to make it through that game. Of course, in Kampala, they lost 2-1. Then the other side, they drew 1-1, and they were unable to progress. Before we go to today's topic of Vipers and how they've had those near misses of playing on the continent, briefly, summarize your take on Vipers falling short against Power Dynamos in both legs. I know we met after the first leg in Chitende and talked about it, but what's your take home from those two games?
I think the better team over 2 legs progressed, and that was Power Dynamos. A lot of factors can be put into that. One, in a 2-legged affair, if you don't win your home game, it is always difficult to go through. So they did do that, and also sometimes it's a disadvantage starting at home.
Yeah,
but of course,
in as much as it looks like an advantage.
yes, it's two-way because
Yeah.
when you start at home and win, the pressure is always on the home side when you visit them because first of all they have to score and tie the aggregate. But it's very, very bad if you don't win at home and you played the first leg at home because now advantage turns to the team that will host you. Vipers over 2 legs didn't look the part. You look at the way they played in that game, and none of their top performers showed up. Because when I speak Vipers, sometimes I'm a little emotional because I feel like their
should do
investment in the players, in the stadium, fan base currently, their biggest sponsor, Dr. Lawrence Mulindwa, you see, they feel like they are targeting something. But in a game where I needed to see Okero, Yunus Sentam, Milton Kalisa, Mukundane Hilal, Karim Watambala show up, it's a game they decided to go into oblivion. I've always said that when the team does not play with cohesiveness, with the teamwork, with the team build-up, there is a day it's going to catch up with them. And unfortunately, it did at a crucial stage. When you watch the 2 games against African Stars, they still didn't show up. Mukundane shows up and scores in South Africa. Yunus Sentam does it here. Over 2 legs, I think African Stars, in terms of playing the game, were the better side. And I remember, even in the post-match press conference, the coach of African Stars, he said when you played them in... actually, that was before. When you played them in South Africa, they only played 14 minutes. And remember, the goal came in the 14th minute around there. So we realized they are not a ball-playing team. That's why they came here confident and did the job. Of course, they did not score. They were a little unlucky and then conceded. But I warned that against a team of powers quality, and Vipers always struggles against teams that possess the ball. Why? Because their style is not possessive. The players are there, but the way they play, of course, they tried it last season in a few games under Ayala and Freddy Momuza. It has not been the same over the 4 matches that I watched them this season. So it caught up with them. Going to Zambia, it was always going to be hard for them to overturn that. Remember, this is a Zambian side that does not score a lot, but rarely concede. Secondly, Vipers goes into that game. Their last competitive game was the game against KCCA. And the fact that they did not take part in the Super 8 and also had issues with the Kagame Cup later withdrawing, it just shows they did not have a lot of preparations in terms of matches.
Match competitiveness.
Yes, match
or
competitiveness in their legs. What this makes you lack, one, you don't exactly who of your players plays better with who, those combination plays. And also, when and how do we execute this? When do we sub him? When do we put this on? Because that shows with the way the lineup in the reverse fixture in dollar was chosen. You cannot make 5 to 6 changes from a team that played 6 days ago and you want to go to the next stage.
in a crucial game.
In a crucial game. That just shows you don't even know your best team. So unfortunately, they are out. I always say, Vipers' investment in terms of infrastructure, the only team with a stadium in this country, with a patron that is so passionate about winning, the way they've invested in the squad does not match the passion, the investment, and the ambition. For me, that summarizes it.
You talk about the squad and the investment. Vipers have 7 league titles now, and over the different seasons that they've won league titles, they've invested heavily in the players, especially the foreign-based players, as they try and reach the group stages. And of course, in this whole period, they've only reached the group stages once. I think in the 2022 season when they eliminated TP Mazembe. Just to run back, some people who are watching us on pitch side, I'm going to look at the past 3 seasons that Vipers have invested in players. We'll go back to the 2022 season when they beat TP Mazembe. They brought in Alfred Mudekereza, Osomba Olivier, Rodriguez Shamamba. Those were the 3 players. On top of, the players that, they had, the Paul Mucherezis and all who were there that got them the groups, that got them to the group stages. In 2023, Vipers were eliminated by Jwaneng Galaxy on aggregate 3-2. But that season, Vipers had 6 foreign players: Luis Otavio from Brazil, Formado Asiwome, Mohamed Salem, Nazao Lutumba, Rodriguez Giancarlo, Desire Teti. Of course, all of them literally have left, the club. Then this season, they've brought in 4 players: Mark Yala, the Liberian; Kevin Da Silva Badi, the Congolese centre back; Odile Chukuma, the Nigerian; and Robin Kane Haney, I think, who is also from Liberia. When you look at these players, you have a combined total of about 15 foreign-based players that Vipers has brought in probably the last 6 seasons or so. But only once have they delivered. And maybe you have to pick out Cesar Manzoki, who stood out before he left when Vipers were going in the group stages of the CAF Champions League. Ismael Kiyonga, what's your analysis of the transfer business that Vipers has done? In the names that I've read for you, what never end say you? That's quite a big number.
The last time I tried to look into my archives, yes, they had signed close to 30 foreign players in history. Over time, you would pick Cesar Manzoki, you would pick Fabian Mutombola, Alfred Mudekereza. You would struggle to name 5 foreign players that have shown at Vipers.
Out of probably the 30 that they've signed.
Yes.
So where do they get it wrong?
One, I don't think they have a scouting network that matches their ambition. When you have the money, the passion, the ambition that Dr. Lawrence Mulindo has, you cannot sign players whose profile not even the media can find out.
Or making a lot of calls.
Yes. So that alone just shows the people that bring foreigners at Chitende are not doing a good job. I cannot sit here and blame anyone apart from the club itself. With the ambition they have, that's if they are ambitious as we think. You don't have to sign a foreigner that cannot bench a local based player. I'll give an example. You bring Makiala, you bring that
Robin Haynes.
Robin Haynes. You want to go to the CAF Champions League group stages. And in the 4 games that you play, you don't start any of them. Apart from, yes, Robin Haynes started against African Stars and he didn't do anything on the pitch until he was subbed by Militon Kalisa, who did a good job to press and then gave Yunus Centum a chance to score that winning goal. So if a foreigner cannot start in your team, that's already a negative on your side. When we talk about Alfred Mudekereza, nobody complains when Alfred Mudekereza starts ahead of Bashiru Sekaja and Derek Chigondo.
Or maybe Giacomo Ketch.
Yes, to the extent it, up to now, there are people who still feel, why was Mudekereza not in goal? That just shows you he has class. Cesar Manzoki, you would not start any other center forward in a crucial game ahead of him, and the fans let you carry on. Fabian Mutombola, when he was here, you would say, Mwebachigondo Molindeko. You know? Now Kevin Bareda Silva is playing. And I've not heard anyone saying Twagala Tolach. So it just shows you the class. Then Odil Chukuma did justice to himself against Power Dynamos, because I don't remember him against African Stars. But against Power Dynamos, he just showed the Vipers they've always lacked on the left wing side, because Vipers have a lot of players who can play on the right side of the wing, from Milton Kalisa, then Alan Okero himself. All those can do the job on the right, but they've lacked a player on the left that is very effective. So Odil Chukuma, you can say maybe they got that right, but until he proves us as well. Let's get to the forward line.
Yeah.
You have Isaac Ogwang, you have Kenneth Chimera, you have Gusto Mulongo, who for me should be trusted the more amongst all the center forwards they have. Of course, he does not cut the class of Manzoki, but at least of all the people they've had, he looks like one that can do the job, especially domestically. Now you sign Makayala, who they tell us was the top scorer in the Liberian League.
Yeah.
And you cannot start
He
him
scored
here.
20 goals. Who was one shot of the top scorer in the Liberian League.
Allegedly, because I cannot confirm that. Maybe you confirmed that.
That's what Vipers said when they unveiled him.
At the end of every season, I think as a club, you sit down and say, where do we lack?
I was going to ask you that what should be now the way forward? Because according to your explanation, the gap is there with who exactly is supposed to handle the transfer business at Vipers and who is holding them accountable. There doesn't seem to be someone who is held accountable for all these things. It's insane for us to sit here and actually tell you people that Vipers in the last 7 years have brought in close to 30 foreign-based players. And you can hardly name 8 players who have stood out. Someone has to be responsible, Kiyonga, at Vipers for that.
Yeah. But let me sit in this camera today and ask for that job. I can do a better job in terms of bringing quality foreigners.
The question would be, is it maybe a money factor that maybe on the market
It's not. For me, I think there is a weakness there. There is a weakness there. Because let me give you an example. Vipers is not yet at the level of Simba or Young Africans. There are players around East Africa that have the profile that beats players that Vipers sign. And you don't have to sign 5, 6 foreigners in a window. Look around East Africa. I know African football. I'll give an example. We had Chan here,
Yeah.
Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania. When you look at the Guinean side that was playing here, the players in Guinea are poor.
Bavu.
Bav, Ubanaku, Chitegera. But they had some decent players. And you could get a player there, give him the same money that you give to Makiyala, he accepts it and plays here. And his quality. Watch DR Congo. Jafes Chitambara, who has taken Azam to the group stages,
Was here.
was in that Congolese
was in the
team.
tournament.
You see? Look at the Kenyan team.
Oh my goodness.
Not all those players are playing for Gor Mahia.
Nabuide,
You know?
Ryan Ogam,
Okay, Ryan may be expensive because he had a lot
Omondi,
of
the
good scouts.
goalkeeper.
Omondi, the
There
goalkeeper.
were so many top players
You
for
know?
Kenya. Yeah.
So, how many of Ugandan clubs, especially Vipers and KCC, were here watching all those games and doing a scouting job and tried as much as they could to speak to some of those players about a possible move? I'm talking about Chan players. Because a Chan player in Niger is still playing locally. It's not as expensive as Guirassi. Simba just signed in, is it near Miami?
Yes, from
He was a free agent.
He was a free agent.
That South African side had a lot of free agents. Of course, you would say, how South Africa ngenda mu America, but the fact that he cannot have a job in his home country
Means it's available.
means he's available. Did we make any
Attempts.
any actions on trying to say, to even just ask, how much would you accept? Because let me tell you something. When you listen to Alan Okedo speak to Andrew Mwangusha on the Game of Life,
Yeah, the interview.
You clearly see a Dr. Lawrence Mulindwa who can part with the money to ensure that he gets the player he wants.
He would do anything.
He will do anything. Of course, I'm not going to ask him to sign Zoe
Pakome.
Pakome. I'm not going to ask him to sign
Fei Toto Salum.
Fei Toto. But what Fei Toto earns at Azam, Dr. Mrindo can afford to pay.
Yeah.
And just 2-3 players can change the course of Vipers. And they become consistent performers. Because first of all, you need to be there every season. Now, Vipers missed out on 2.4 billion by failing to reach the group stages. But then, can 2.4 billion be spent on 2-3 players? No.
Yeah.
Not even $1 billion.
That's way too much.
That's way too much. So invest, you'll get the money back. So for me, I think going forward, Vipers needs to sign players with a profile. I don't think young Africans now can just sign a player they don't know.
Yeah,
But truth is, in Uganda, top clubs like KCCA, Vipers, sign players they don't know. If you're Vipers, you have Kenneth Chimera. Very high profile signed from Watso Giants, failed. Isaac Ogwang, same. Gusto Mrongo not doing the job. Sukari, center prefers to cut in from the left. You lack a center forward in the caliber of Cesar Manzoki. At the end of the season, just look around. The scouting team, the scouting team,
surely.
Yes,
look around Kenya, Zambia, wherever, Rwanda.
Yes,
and look at the stats and
look at the stats. Watch those players. So by the time they come here, you are very sure they are starters. When you try to bring a foreigner, make sure you bring a foreigner that even your opponents know. Just imagine with the Vipers midfield of say Fei Toto, Awucho Khalid, and then Alan Okedo. Even the opponents will know. They have Alan, they have Fei Toto, they have... But then they read the lineup and the foreigner you have is Robin Eniken. They don't know him. The investment they make in these unknowns is way too much compared to maybe bringing 2-3 players in a window that are going to do the job.
That are going to do the job. All right, Ishmael, thank you very much. But we've broken it down for you guys. The transfer policy at Vipers, who is responsible? Who is not doing their job? Because if you look at the last couple of seasons, they have gotten it wrong with the players that they've brought in. Ismael Kiyonga has offered to help Vipers bring in the right players
Yes.
at a fair price. So, guys, on pitch
Actually,
side,
not just players.
we have pitched for the
but even
job.
coaches. I had a chance to, through one of my good colleagues, Freddy Katende Mariv,
Yes.
to bring Maxwell Konadu.
At Vipers.
Yes.
From Ghana.
Yes.
Wow.
I had
would
a
have-
chance to bring Florent Bengi.
Kiyonga tosusiza
Ati
nyawo.
kati nze nkugamba.
Florent
Aba-
Ibenge.
Yes. Of course, he will ask for money.
But the profile that he
he comes with.
the player that is going to attract.
Yes, it's not now. Because of Florent Bengi, I get it was very easy for Jafes Chitambala
To come to Vipers.
to come to sign for Azam. And guess what? He's taken them to the group stages.
Of the Champions League.
Because look at the coaches around Africa. Those ones that we think we can afford. I think Maxwell Konadu.
Surely.
Eh?
Surely he's someone that you can afford.
There was a time I even wanted to give them the current Rwanda coach, who was previously in Kenya, the one that took Tanzania to the Africa Cup of Nations.
Oh, Amrochi.
Amruchi.
Anyways, Ishmael Kiyonga, as we conclude on this interview, I just wanted to bring you back here more closer at home because, as we all know, on the 21st of October, the Federation, FUFA, the president, Ingina Moses Magogo, called a press conference and, confirmed that Ugandan football, or the top flight Uganda Premier League, had returned to the old league format after a lot of outcry.
The traditional format.
To the traditional format. After
the
a lot
original format.
after a lot of public outcry and everything. Now, before all that happened, we know what FUFA had shared originally to the clubs, telling them or convincing them to actually play in the new league format. Some of that included locker room bonuses for players, money for teams to actually, operate and play in the new league format. Also, referees being paid up to 500,000 shillings per game, and a lot of other new incentives that had come through. Unfortunately, when the communication was made to return to the traditional format, there was no guidance on all of those things that had been, stated earlier on. You wrote an article on Kao Sports, which actually shed more light on this particular discussion that we're going to have. And I'm here asking you, Ismael Kiyonga, including the Chitara Vipers game, which wasn't played, and there hasn't been communication on if Chitara took the 3 points, if Vipers lost the 3 points, what is going on? And maybe what picture are you looking at now? Are we playing the right league? Yes, it's back to the old format, but are we playing the right league? Did we need new fixtures? Did we need confirmation on some things? Seems like there are a lot of things that are missing out.
One, since that press conference, FUFA has never come out with a circular revealing that we are back to the format nearly 90% of the Ugandans wanted. And when I try to read the regulations of the competitions for this year, 2025-2026, communication is made official through circulars and, of course, emails, maybe to clubs. Maybe they got. I've not seen a circular revealing everything. But in the press conference, Engineer Moses Magogo just confirmed reverting to the format and also getting rid of that article. Is it 14.1 up to 14.12? And that's the one that talked about the round 1, round 2, round 3, the divisions after the classification, things like that. So talking about the fixture, I'm one in support of continuation of the fixture like it was.
There's not much that changes, you think?
I don't think teams had invested money in playing these games.
Yeah.
Buhimba traveled to Entebbe. Organizing a match day is very expensive. So for me, I have no queries there.
My question, Isma, now is where does this conundrum put Ugandan football? Because people may look at it as something that is swept under the carpet, but you never know. Midway through the league or at the end of the league, something may pop up. I mean, don't you think people need to come out and make their position known on if Chitara won 3 points, if Vipers lost the game, if, we're in the new, back to traditional format? What are your take homes from this current situation?
Yeah, I also don't expect it to ever return. Even if this format was to go on, it wouldn't last more than 2 seasons. For people out there, especially at FUFA, who think, Bobalwana, no. Since I don't fight with anyone. First of all, I don't know you. You are nothing to me. So it's always about the principle. Now the biggest question is, will this investment that had already been put and also was promised to be put into this continue? What most of these clubs don't realize is that when Moses Magogo was speaking to them about the funding, he said this fund is mainly for the format, not for the clubs. So the format is not there.
So they won't
but
get
then,
the money.
I don't know. But then the question is, and this is the question that I always asked on whichever platform I was on, the format has never been a problem. Now that is money, which has always been the problem, is here.
Why doesn't
What's
it come
wrong
to the
with
traditional
investing
format?
it in the traditional format? Should I give you simple mathematics?
Please go ahead, Ismail.
16 clubs, with each registering 25 players, with the 2.5 billion from FUFA. Each player can be paid 500,000 for an entire season. Now just imagine, these clubs have players that are assured of pay every month. A minimum of 500. You'll see very, very, very good
Very high
competitive
competition.
football.
The Chitara Vipers situation, how do you suggest it ends?
Of course, that game will be replayed. Why? By the time that fixture happened, Vipers said we are not part of this. So you cannot punish me for something I'm not part. But in this case, Vipers said we disagree with all the reforms in their entirety. So we are not part of that. So in my opinion, that game will be replayed in Chitara. Good for both sides.
Ismael Kiyonga, thank you very much for joining me today on Pitchside. I appreciate you, sir, and I appreciate your time. Nzija ku African football.
Tutule wano. Tandike Ismail
Choga
Kiyonga.
you get stop, you get start.
Nayenga, thank you for hosting me, Peter.
Yeah.
Thanks for the good work. You're one of my inspirations. Every time, if you watch my videos, of course, I always give credit to you, Clive, Brian Kawali of the Sports Nation.
But you also inspire me, Ismael Kiyonga.
Then, of
I've
course,
learned writing from you.
The fools, Kasuku, Ntambi.
Shalom 256.
I've not met Shalom. Okay, I met him. Twina tweyita kao. Nyina nabasanga nyina nali nyingira akafunda bwendi nembasanga nga bali ne DJ Michael. Nga bakola akagundi nenkalaba. I watch a lot of those things. I watch a lot of the things. So you guys inspire me. Nange njamala ntuuke.
Kiyonga Ismail, thank you so much. Please subscribe and always keep it pitchside. Cheers.